Hey guys, and welcome to another brand new video. In this video, we have even more drama going on as of today, where it actually kind of seems like Microsoft and Xbox has essentially leaked when they basically went and tried to make all of their games exclusive, their big battle against PlayStation itself, as well as also the future of their games too. On top of this, new IPs, PlayStation apparently being blocked and not being allowed to have their games, and a lot of other various things coming out all throughout this big court case. So if you guys will stay tuned, relax, and enjoy, and as well, make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on. I hope you guys have been enjoying all this nice little court coverage, because there's been some very spicy drama. And as well, make sure you guys just go stream by the Twitch, reply live right now, and of course subscribe, all that good stuff, and let's dive into the video itself. So we have a few kind of bigger topics over here. Number one is that apparently some Xbox games have been, or apparently just games in general, been blocked by Xbox, and a lot of PlayStation Plus free-to-play games. So a lot of people inside of our actual community, or PlayStation community, etc., have apparently actually lost the chance to have a lot of various other good games on the PlayStation Store. We also have some other big stuff too as well, so we're going to go talk about this in a second, but let's go and start off with this story first, because apparently PlayStation Plus, which you guys do or do not know, is basically like the subscriber service thing. You pay once a month, or like the yearly thing, you get free games, or the streaming, or everything else in between. So the PlayStation Plus free games blocked by Xbox, apparently now with new documents being leaked. So, who knew that court battles could be so exciting? Microsoft is currently in court against the Federal Trade Commission, as you guys probably know, for the fight for its proposed acquisition of Activision Blizzard to go ahead. And the trial has aired pretty much all of the games industry drama you could possibly imagine, and I've been trying my best to cover this up the best I can. You guys have been enjoying the videos. So basically, in the last few days, we found out that Xbox Series X nearly missed out on Call of Duty releases altogether. Microsoft seriously considered trying to get Sega, which we talked about in that one. We actually also did have an update that did say Sega was in the looks, but not right now. And also that DayZ 2 was and still might be in development, funny enough, from Bohemia, which I would actually play the heck out of DayZ 2 if that ever was a thing. I played a lot of Arma 2 mods back in the day, if you guys know about that stuff. And of course, that's just barely scratching the surface as well. And now kind of seems like, according to GameRoute, badly redacted court documents submitted by Sony has actually revealed that Microsoft signed exclusivity deals to guarantee certain titles coming to Xbox Game Pass as day one releases, which I think is actually, somewhat fine in my idea, mainly because they're trying to go use their marketing leverage. They want to have a reason for people to keep their Game Pass subscription. Like, in my mind, it makes sense. So, I'm okay with that one in theory, but furthermore, it's claimed that these deals also aim to stop the games in question from releasing on rival subscription services. So this is kind of a big deal for them to lock in, that they just did not want to go and have any games on PlayStation Plus or all the other various PlayStation platforms, because they're sitting there trying to be like, hey yo, we don't want this. Like, if we're going to have it on Game Pass, you can't put it on PlayStation Plus, and that's kind of the more bigger distinction. Let's say you release a game on PlayStation Xbox, that's just a normal, you buy the game, it's fine. Game Pass obviously is like in the same vein of PlayStation Plus, or like their Nintendo Cloud, or other various things like, say, like a Google Stadia. So it's a slightly different product. So all these games that want to be on Game Pass, they'll get paid $1 million, $5 million, $10 million, or whatever it might go and be for their deals, and then after all of that happens, then they just don't want to have those games on things like PlayStation Plus or PlayStation Plus Essential. Stuff like that. Which is kind of basically implying that the Sony subscription service could have actually missed out on quite a few different games, and it seems like that has been confirmed from all the legal documents, though, as well. So that's one kind of big thing to know, and it kind of makes sense in terms of value proposition. If you're Xbox, you're not going to go give a company $10 million to go and have them go on PlayStation Plus a week later, or at the same exact time. There's just kind of no real reason for the exclusivity of it. Now, in the theory, I don't think I mind this too much. This just kind of seems like normal business, although it kind of depends on the regulators, because they always have been focusing a lot more on the cloud hosting, and streaming aspects. So basically, if they're trying to go and say they have enough money to go and force games to be a 1 year like subscription baseline for a Game Pass game, I don't think I necessarily mind it, because I've played some pretty cool games on Game Pass. But part two is that it's a little bit on the weirder side, because, well, that's kind of like prevents a lot of games from being on PlayStation Plus. And apparently with the documentation that does confirm that this has happened, so in terms of legal court documents, they were submitted as well, so we don't necessarily know which titles that the PlayStation Plus subscribers could have missed out on, and typically some months are good, some months are mediocre, although it does kind of go and show that Microsoft claimed that Sony did the opposite, where they actually paid people to block the rights to prevent developers from adding content to Game Pass as well, and other competing subscription services. So it's actually kind of crazy to go and see that both of these big companies, both PlayStation and Xbox, have kind of come out to be a little bit on the scummier side. I do want to go and reiterate, though, I think it's just business is business. So I don't personally think it's too bad or too rough, at least in my honest opinion. But at the same time, it's crazy to go and see on, well, the fact that this has just been so much petty drama back and forth when it comes to all of this. And then speaking of the next part of petty drama, Phil Spencer actually apparently made like a huge business decision that was apparently leaked, where Xbox's Phil Spencer seemingly decided to make all ZeniMax games exclusives in a 2021 meeting as of IGN. So the chat exchange between Xbox leaders reveal what happened in a November 2021 meeting. So Phil Spencer apparently made a big decision to make all ZeniMax games Xbox exclusive in a November 2021 meeting. This reveal came to light as part of the final day of testimony in this week's Microsoft FTC hearing. During Xbox's CFO Tim Stewart's time on the witness stand, the FTC called attention to a chat conversation from November 2021 between Stewart and Xbox's Matt Booty. The two were messaging about a recent monthly business review meeting between Xbox and ZeniMax, where Spencer apparently made the call to make all of ZeniMax games exclusive going forward, not just the IP. Stewart was asking Booty about what happened during the meeting. All games going forward, Stewart asks. Not just new IPs, but all games going forward? Wow. This kind of goes in senses like the big acquisition issues where a lot of these big government bodies basically are like, hey, you're going to go and buy out all these companies. Like we saw a list of like 8 different major companies where they wanted to go buy out and put on Game Pass and then make them exclusives. And then some of now these bigger meetings like this type of stuff too as well, shows that they did go and confirm. They specifically went publicly and said this, that they want to go and make these deals like exclusive for them, which I think once again is also somewhat fine in terms of their money being spent. I get it. But part 2, I think, is the worst part, is that well, this is what the government bodies don't want. If it was a normal business, it's not my say. They spend $70 billion. They could do whatever they want with the IP. In my opinion. But when it comes to $70 billion businesses as a third part subsidiary, that's where things get a little bit more different. Because mainly, don't forget, there's a lot of companies out there that are not even worth $70 billion, let alone a $70 billion that's underneath Xbox. It's also underneath Microsoft. It starts getting pretty big and pretty scary. So that's to say over here, this is like a big thing where Phil Spencer told them all titles going forward are Xbox exclusives. And this goes completely beyond what they're trying to go push for we're okay with everything. We want Call of Duty on Nvidia, on Steam, on PlayStation, on Nintendo. And this is where these regulators are getting more rough on, because we have 2 sides. We have the public side where they're like, hey, we'll make everything great for everyone. We have these cool deals, we're in these talks with Jim Ryan, we're talking with Steam or whatever. And then we have the part 2 where it's behind these closed doors and these big business meetings that are being leaked from emails and subpoenas and everything else. They're like, yeah, let's just go and make Xbox, the best game ever. Let's go buy out PlayStation, which I may want to go do a proper video on that maybe tomorrow, because there's been a lot more side conversation on that too as well. So basically, the two want to discuss how pulling all Bethesda titles from PlayStation would cause profit issues in Microsoft and ZeniMax deal model. We have an accountability margin issues in the deal model as we pull a huge number of PS units out of the model. So also basically kind of seeing over here too, that they're basically locked in with PlayStation, and they do make money off of PlayStation. They actually, funny enough, make money from PlayStation itself. So they want to go make money. They want to go keep the PlayStation sales because they get a cut off of that, or have the subscriber fees, or PlayStation Plus fees, or whatever it might go and be. Fallout 76 online, whatever it might be. So when Spencer testified last week, this is the meeting that Xbox leader claimed he didn't remember with the specifics of, which is kind of crazy because this is a pretty big meeting you'd want to go and maybe see the specifics on. Not to call it Xbox too much, I'm just a drama person, so I love the drama. So it's possible that we'll get more information and clarity on this meeting during Microsoft's cross-section examination of Stewart, and we'll update this story if that's in case. I'll give you guys updates too as well. But apparently the ZeniMax deal has been one of the bigger frames of reference, as we covered up in a video yesterday, where a lot of these companies are like, hey, yo, why are you going to go make all these games exclusive? Why are you going to cut these contracts with PlayStation? Because that's what they end up doing with the Bethesda deal, and they're using that as a benchmark to be like, hey, if you did this with Bethesda, why would you not do the same exact practices, such as trying to cut out contracts, trying to go focus more on Game Pass, growing Game Pass, getting more subscription fees or whatever it might be, which is kind of a big thing to know. So I'm intrigued. I would actually love to go and see all your thoughts and comments on this one, because it is an intriguing concept nonetheless, and of course, it's just nutty. We're seeing so much stuff coming out of here when it comes to petty drama, where they're both trying to go buy each other out. They're trying to spend as much money as they can to stop and basically go and trip them up any way they can. And it kind of seems like right now it's the equivalent of 2 gas stations, and one sells Pepsi products and the one sells Coke products, and they're right across the street from each other. So they're trying to go and be like, hey, yo, let's go get Dr. Pepper over here. And this other guy's like, hey, yo, let's go get Sprite. I know those companies are kind of mega owned by big corporations. Don't mind me. I'm just going to use a really rough metaphor. Don't call me out in the comment section. I understand. But we got to see all this type of stuff. We're just like, yo, Like, you guys are both just trying to go trip each other up. But the big thing is Xbox is trying to get something out of this. They're trying to get the acquisition of Activision. So for them, it matters more. Like, for PlayStation, they can maybe look a little bit scummy in the public eye. That's fine. But Xbox has been matching them. While Xbox is trying to get this Activision acquisition. And if they somehow fail this, they lose $3 billion in lockup fees. And then Activision goes on throughout their merry way and maybe have a better chance to work out a double specific deal with both PlayStation and Xbox for publishing in the future. So we have a lot of stuff to go talk about. So make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on. We have the Twitter and Twitch room down below. We have the Amazon links too as well, and all the other various things too. And I appreciate y'all so much for watching in the first place.